Our mission is to give our athletes the tools to fulfill their max potential by sharing our conversations here from the masters of the craft.
Welcome back to Coach's Journal.
Welcome back.
This is phase 2 of our book review,
Phase 2.
right?
What book again?
The Culture Code by Daniel Coyle.
Part 2.
Part 2. Part 2 because this book actually is broken up into 3 parts.
Conveniently.
Yeah, he calls them skills.
Yep.
But last episode we went over the
Building safety.
right. And what this is, just a little quick recap, but this is exactly what the is in the title. Culture, building culture. How does successful programs and groups do it? Because it's not so much in just a business needs good culture or a sports team gets good culture. It's groups of people, right? Community, businesses, startups, military groups, right?
Friend groups.
Yeah, everything. So, but first skill was building safety and why that was so crucial. Skill 2 is vulnerability and why that's important. And he actually has a different take on it. And we'll dive into that more. But also vulnerability. That's such a word that people use a lot, right? And I think sometimes it overuse definition kind of gets mixed up. Can come off as weak. It can come off as
exposed.
Yeah. I think sometimes it's been used as weaponized.
Oh yeah,
right?
for sure.
So he actually goes into what he's referring to as vulnerability, what it truly is, and why it is important in building a good culture.
Yeah, it's a tool to build trust versus, the common, not misconception, because I wouldn't say it's wrong, but the common thought of how we must trust each other first before I'm vulnerable with you.
Yeah.
He's kind of taking a different take of, I'm going to be vulnerable to build trust with you. And I think it's interesting because
little flip flop there.
A little flippy flap.
Yeah.
It's interesting because as a coach, you'd think, why would I want to be vulnerable with? Why would I ever want myself to be vulnerable, especially in front of my athletes? Mm-hmm. Right. And that's kind of,
why would I need to?
Right.
Yeah.
I need to show my authority.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not weak. Again, I just said it and I didn't mean to. Vulnerability doesn't necessarily mean weak. Right. So.
Oh, yeah. Naturally kind of.
People tend to think that it
pair those two together.
Yeah. Let's actually look up synonyms. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. But he kind of starts off with the concept of, how vulnerability, he kind of starts by framing vulnerability. And the quote that he uses is the strongest person in the room typically is the one who's first to say, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Right. And that right there, if you could just wrap up the concept of the type of vulnerability that he's referring to, that he's saying that should be implemented, that's the principle.
Right.
If you could nutshell it, that would be it. Right. Is the strongest person in the room is saying, I don't know. Doesn't mean I can't figure it out. Doesn't mean I can't. Doesn't mean I won't. Doesn't mean any of that. It just means at this moment in time right now, I don't have the solution. That's it.
Right.
So then from there, he kind of just dives into it. And the biggest, I guess, the starting point that I found important that he was getting at was, like you were saying, in order to get that trust, instead of giving vulnerability once you've gotten trust, you give vulnerability in order to receive trust, right? And uh, that was the same point that he's saying is share vulnerability,
Right.
right? Share it lead with that.
And if both parties are leading with it, right? Like that
What it does
trust.
is, yeah, it disarms the other
Mm-hmm.
party, right? Shows that, instantly gives them this safe feeling, right? Which is what he talked about in skill 1, right? So they
Crazy.
feel safe, and when they feel safe, therefore,
Trust begins.
right,
Yeah.
right.
So then, do you think vulnerability would be harder for the coach to give or the athlete to give up, or like to be vulnerable?
I think it would be harder. It'd be harder to give for the athlete to give it, um, because if the coach doesn't give it, then I don't think you're going to get it from the athlete.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
basically, the
so if
athlete,
like you put it in a Punnett square kind of deal,
uh,
like there's a 75% chance that you
if
just
this
right,
happens, then that
and then there's a 100% chance you're not getting anything based on which
on that.
category or
That's
which
true.
option, right? But
It's a good way to think about it, actually. Like,
probability squares or whatever.
yeah, I know
Yeah.
exactly what you're talking about because, like, when you have the different scenarios, a coach will never 100%. There'll never be a box the coach doesn't 100% give it.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a box that's, if it's not 100%, it's fucking
Yeah. Yeah.
99.9%.
Yeah.
The athlete won't,
Right.
especially if the coach doesn't give it. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's a I would agree with that. Before you even answered it, I thought coach. I was thinking coach just because of what we were talking about of leaders having that uh, common conception of vulnerability showing weakness. So a coach trying to be the leader, it'd be harder for him to give it up.
Mm.
But if they can get over their damn ego and give it up, then the athletes are gonna give it.
Follow suit.
Follow
Yeah.
suit. Monkey see, monkey do. How many times
Right.
do we fucking say that? Like,
Right.
preach to the choir, guys. Or not preach to the choir.
Lead by
Practice what
example.
you preach.
Yeah.
Lead by example. God.
Yeah.
Yeah. All those things. And it even comes back to this, like, if you want your athletes to communicate with you openly, freely, create a safe environment, you have to do the steps, you know?
I'd agree with you though on the fact that it would be more difficult for the coaching side and taking the first step, right?
Like straight up.
Yep. You know, making that first step or taking that first approach. Um, so definitely, I'd say, but I'd say it's only harder because I kind of view that responsibility naturally falls into the coaches.
Right.
It's kind of uh, like the girl at the bar, right? It's just
It's falling.
very, yeah, the responsibility of approach is pretty much on the dudes.
Right.
Like there's a small chance that she might come over, 1%. So
That's why
there's
it's
like a 1%
99.9.
chance that the athlete might open up, or and start that kind of
Right.
vulnerability path and walk together,
But if you're a betting man,
but it's 1%, right? It's a rare few. It's the super outgoing, the anomalies,
right.
right? Other than that, you pretty much, the responsibility of
Yeah.
burden of responsibility would be on the coach.
Which I mean, it kind of should be. You're the
You're the
coach.
adult. Yeah, you're the
You're the
coach.
adult in our
Yeah.
situation, 100%. But
Yeah.
now we go to college. I mean, they're still more adults, but like with those young coaches in college, like you're the one in charge,
Mm-hmm.
so you need to do that. Think about Art Castillo when he first started coaching. He was young. He was not much older than everyone than you when he was coaching you. Um, but he had to have the responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's the one that also suggested this book to us. Thank you, Art.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. And we will, later on towards the end, we will reveal,
Oh yeah.
or no, is that next episode?
No, we're gonna do a reel.
A reel. Okay.
We'll
All right.
put
All
up a
right. All right. All right.
reel of who won.
But we did pick one.
We did select one. We
So
have a
thank you
winner.
for the comments, and we'll do that again.
Yep.
But we did pick one, and we'll let you guys know
I don't know
through.
when we'll announce it, but it'll be before episode 3 comes out. I
Right.
think that'd be a good time.
But it ties in well.
Yeah.
We'll just leave it at that.
Ties in well. It's a great one.
Anyway.
Okay.
So
let's go into some of the examples that Mr. Coyle goes into about, sharing vulnerability. And I love the first example he uses, because if you think of a time of crisis, right? If you think of a time of crisis, that's when leaders kind of need to step up the most, or things need to get done. And it's an emergency. You can't mess up, So when a crisis comes, true colors come through. True colors of the culture of the unit under crisis comes through.
Mm-hmm.
So this plane, Flight 232, they had a 1% failure of, I think, like their hydraulics in an engine. So they lost an engine power. And I mean, plane's going down.
This was like a 1 in a million type kind of thing.
Something, just crazy. Yeah. And plane's going down.
Crazy thing.
Yeah.
It took off from Denver.
Oh, wow.
Going to Chicago.
Don't fly out of Denver, guys. I'm just kidding.
I'm taking that same flight in a couple weeks.
Hopefully it's Flight 233.
Yeah, right. Hopefully I got Captain Denny Finch on my freaking plane, man. Goodness.
So we joked, have fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the two pilots, the captain and the co-pilot, are struggling, right? And clearly everyone knows in the plane things are going astray. But there happened to be a third pilot on board who had higher credentials than the captain and co-pilot, but he was a passenger at the time. Wasn't, so he walks into the room, and like one of the first things he says is there anything I can do to help? Or what do you need me to do? He didn't come in barking orders. He shared the vulnerability with the two pilots. Mm-hmm.
And this is a great story, but there's a couple key things that I don't think you meant to skip over. But so just for our audience, so they know how this is going, the plane is taking off, and it's like a 3-hour flight. So like an hour into the flight, one of the engines blows up essentially, and it happened from a microscopic crack in one of the fins.
The hydraulic failed.
No, an engine failed.
Oh.
Does it say hydraulic somewhere?
Yeah. Catastrophic hydraulic failure.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Well, I remember they had an engine blew up, and that's what caused it, right? So they're getting all this.
They couldn't control the plane.
The torque on one engine, and this other one's out, and that's why it put it in this like side. Anyway, however it happened, okay? They're in this crazy, basically sideways turn, and they're elevating at the same time, right? Which is great.
Shit's
so imagine this, Denny Finch coming out of his seat, and he's got to climb up there,
to get in.
Can I help? Anyway, crazy. But starts doing that, and the captain grabs it. He grabs the yoke, and he's like, I got it, right? But the yoke is just pegged.
He couldn't
do anything with it, right?
Hold it, yeah.
And then, like a few seconds later, he goes, does anyone have any ideas? Right? And this is a key thing.
Oh, the captain said that. Yeah, that's right.
And this is a key thing that Daniel Coyle's kind of points out is this is the captain of the aircraft. He's the leader. He's the guy.
He should know everything.
Right?
He should know everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's the leader. And it's back to that first quote in the beginning, the strongest person in the room saying, I don't know.
Right.
So that's basically the example of the strongest guy in the room, the one who should have the answers saying, I don't know. Right? But he also does it in a way of, hey, anyone got ideas? And that conveys this, I'm the leader, I understand, but I don't have the ideas, and I'm open to ideas.
Right.
Because we need solutions now. Like yesterday.
Yeah. Like about an hour ago. Right. We needed answers.
Right. So then
Denny
Finch comes in, and he says, tell me how I can help.
Yeah.
Right? And I just wanted to touch on those first 2 points, because those were some of those vulnerability moments that Daniel, the author, wanted to
Convey.
pinpoint
Yeah.
in this quick emergency situation.
Scary. I mean,
Yeah.
imagine the fear and like everything. But yeah, I mean, basically, the captain admits that he doesn't know what's going on. Denny Fitch comes in and he's like, you know, tell me what I can do. And he's the instructor. He teaches people how to fly planes. And basically, these three guys in this cockpit are just they're talking very short, very pilot.
Notifications.
Yeah, notification. That's what Coyle
Yeah.
termed it as is
Yeah.
notification. So they're not having conversations about ideas. They are notifying each other of ideas in very short spurts of
Packets of
information.
information.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as they're all trying to control one part of this plane that they can even try to control.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they got it done. They were able to land the plane, no casualties, injuries obviously, but like no casualties. And with plane crashes, they go through all sorts of research and diagnosis and what went wrong, where it went wrong. Are the pilots at fault?
The
Like,
black box.
yeah, they do everything. They go as deep into to
Deep
make sure
investigation.
whose
Yeah.
fault it is. It's one of the craziest things. And I get it to a point, but obviously insurance is trying to save their ass.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so during this recon of information trying to get of what happened to this plane, they ran, what was it, 28 simulations of these with different pilots. Just like, hey, you guys come in, they didn't like get teams of pilots. All right, you're the best pilots in North America. Come try this. They just got teams of pilots that like, hey, you are a team. Come over here. And every single simulation failed.
They all crashed.
All
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah.
So what did the three with Danny Fitch and the captain and the other what did those three have? What did they do different? And that's kind of what Coyle dives into of they shared vulnerability, they communicated effectively and efficiently, and you know, that's kind of his whole point is the captain, the leader, didn't have to know all the answers to
Mm-hmm.
save them. It took all three of them to understand, their roles, what they could do here or there to get that plane to land safely. And
There's sorry, I
no,
wasn't
you're good.
trying to while you're talking, and while I was listening to this story from him, reminded me of another one. It was in a Malcolm Gladwell book. Not sure which one, but he's talking about how it's also a plane situation,
Slowly.
and
Just kidding.
it's about communication. And this was a plane, I think, in Taiwan, maybe, but big commercial airline. They took off shortly, and from this airport they have to like basically get up and gain ground because they have to clear this mountain,
Mm,
right? Well, on this day it's super foggy and they can't see anything, and um, the pilot isn't exactly sure of the elevation that he needs to be at,
right.
so he's communicating back with, and I
The
guess his
airport.
instruments maybe aren't working exactly right, so he's going back to the airport and um, traffic control, and the way they communicate, like he's asking questions, but because of how they view authority in their culture,
Right.
he's asking questions that aren't prompting the answers in a timely way in which he needs,
Yes. I do
right?
remember this.
And maybe it was range,
Might have been. Might
right?
have been range.
But like uh but because of that, he's not getting timely information in the time he needs it, and the plane ends up crashing into the
Crashing.
mountain.
Yep.
And that was because of this in their culture and the way they see authority and whatnot.
Who the
And
bosses and
yeah, he's framing these questions in a way of trying to basically not step on toes and be respectful and whatnot. And
I don't mean to laugh.
you know,
I don't mean to laugh.
but
But look what
but
happens.
just yeah, that inability to be vulnerable, and even though that how that's just an example of that other countries and other um, other countries have this, their cultures can, how culture can just run so deep, right?
Hmm.
And how you literally communicate with another person in another position,
Well,
or just based on age, even,
dude, think
oh, you're
about
older, therefore I give you a little more respect, or speak to you in a different
right.
way, right?
Think about
And
kind of our culture right now of when you're talking to or if you're a police officer having to talk to someone or talking to a police officer to describe the culprit or something, and the trigger words you try to avoid to give a description of who the bad person is in the crime, and everyone's worried about saying someone's black or giving them clear descriptors. Or if a cop says, hey, yeah, we have an African American or something, or we have an Asian white male, like everyone's like, well, why? Like they take those as offenses, and like we're even dealing with that in that kind of communication. If we want to go, what's the word, to get or report a crime, like some people worry about what they're saying in
yeah,
those
if
crime
they're saying
reports.
it correctly.
And so cops aren't getting the good information. Or even like when we talked with Espo and he's not getting good information from the kids of what injuries they have. I mean, to your point, culture runs deep. And, that's, we got to avoid those miscommunications so
Right.
we can be the best we can be. Um, and, like it's kind of hard because, we talk about a plane, and when you're a wrestling coach, you're not going to be in crisis mode like in a situation like that to really feel what sharing vulnerability is in that intense of a moment kind of
Right.
thing. But more of, if a kid, if we show a move and we show it wrong, to be like, oh, guys, hang on, stop. I showed that incorrectly. Come back in. Let's show this again. Let's show it correctly. Or like, asking other coaches, like, hey, did I miss something? Or just like adding those.
Being open to knowing that you just don't have all the answers,
Right.
or that you, even if you did, that you might have just forgot it, or it slipped, like
Right. And if you catch a fellow
that you're not
coach
perfect.
for,
Yeah.
if you catch a fellow coach miss a kind of, even if it's not a key point of a move, but a point you want the kids to know, like, hey, let's show them to grab it like this. Let's point that fact out.
Hmm.
It's only gonna help the kids,
Yeah.
right? You're not, if you're worried about stepping on that coach's toes because you interjected with your little trick of that move, then you're going to have some problems,
Hmm.
right? Between the coaching staff and between the kids,
Yeah,
kind of
that's that. Not just not feeling vulnerable, or
safe.
feeling
Yeah.
like you can be vulnerable to say what you need, but also the safety feeling. And those
Hmm.
are both aspects mixing
Right.
together on that.
Right. Exactly. It's a good,
Right.
it's a good thought. Or yeah, good thought. And I like, you know, I love this quote. It's not a quote from the book, but it's like one of those things like you don't have to, you're not gonna grow if you're the smartest person in the room. You never want to be the smartest person in the room, because if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. And kind of like this is, you don't need to have all the answers, and it's good if you don't have all the answers, because you can learn, you can grow, you can, we can learn from the kids that we coach every day,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and it makes
Absolutely.
you a better leader. So
Um, Question, just kind of off this topic, does saying I don't know increase or decrease credibility?
that's a good one, because I mean, it's almost like, how often are you saying I don't know? Because I think there are times where, if you say I don't know, or how you respond after you say I don't know too. Because if you say I don't know and you don't ask a question back to further figure it out with that person, then I think, it could come off a little less credible for yourself.
What's your intent of, right? Like you're saying,
It's a tough question.
it can be determined based on what's your intent of finding the solution if you
Yeah,
don't know.
correct.
For sure.
I think so.
It's like, yeah, that's kind of a classic thing that uh you hear in really anything, sales, customer service,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Hey, customer comes and asks you something. You don't know. I don't know that, but I know where to find out the answer.
Right.
So I got to say,
Exactly.
you know?
You didn't lose credibility of you being a
Right.
Target employee, let's
Right.
say. Like that customer. Oh, I mean, some Karens are out there, right? No offense to if your name is Karen, but just saying. But like, yeah, no customer's gonna be like, well, that guy didn't know, but he led me to the right person. To like, they'll be like, thank you for your help.
Mhm.
Thank you for taking me out of your way
Right.
to
Yep.
do this. Going back to my Albertson days.
By the way, make sure to smash the subscribe button. Like, follow, share, all the things.
Just I like
Yep.
swipe down the swipe down the right
Just
side. All of them.
yep.
Comment.
Oh
We
yeah,
like,
comment. Yeah.
and so if we get more comments, we can actually like do some of the cool like reels where we respond to your comments live, or not live, but in a reel. So then your comment could be,
Yeah, we can post it somewhere like right here, right? It's like boom, so and so just commented, blah blah.
maybe we'll troll
Right.
you. I
Right.
don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. We did get a troll though. It's kind of cool. We got a troll.
You know who you are.
Yeah.
We appreciate you watching. Make sure to like this video though.
Follow us. If you're
Yeah.
gonna comment on 5 of
Oh
our
yeah,
shit,
follow us,
follow
dude.
us.
Follow us.
Yeah, he doesn't follow us.
Then you can get all our content.
All of it.
Make sure that notification bell's on too.
Yeah. Are you getting notifications that Coach's Journal just posted, just dropped on the TikTok and YouTube?
And by the way, don't forget to check out our store.
Um,
Swag.
swag.
Awesome heavyweight sweatshirt right here. We've got golf polo, which is great for the office. Wore it the other day actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
Anyone ask about it?
No, but I wore it. Where did I wear it? So I had 3 people ask me about it.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
I'm surprised no one's asked us at the gym as often as that
I
social
know, but
storm.
they keep looking.
What's
Like
CJ?
it's like
His name isn't
you just see
CJ.
their eyes just keep going like this. So,
They're just checking out soon.
but they keep looking at this pec, so that tells me
That
they're checking
pec's
out
huge.
they're checking out that CJ.
I don't
By the way, check out our store. Yeah. Cool.
Link in the bio.
Yeah. So anyway, moving on into the vulnerability loop,
Ooh.
right? So he now gets into the actual mechanism of how it works, right? So person A shows vulnerability, person B recognizes it,
Oh, nice.
person B then responds with vulnerability, person A recognizes that response, and trust has just increased. +1.
Ding. Ding. It's
Yep.
like when you leveled up and
Right.
ding ding. So, and what we talked about earlier in this episode, like we believe person A at the very first spot should be coach, is what we think.
Yes. Yes.
Or else that person B may never, that athlete's not gonna.
Yeah, if we leave person A to be the athlete, yeah, I think that's just a disservice of kind of what your role of a coach is, and part
That's a
of
great way to
your
put it.
unspoken responsibility. It's not in your job description, and then you're not getting paid off of it. But my personal opinion is that's like it's got to be top 3 traits or attributes that you bring to the table.
100%. I think that's the Coach's Journal's way.
That's right. Every damn day.
Every damn day, we get better.
So yeah, so that's the loop, and then he what he talks about in this loop, and we kind of prefaced it or said it early on, but this is where he really goes into why this is vulnerability leading to trust instead of trust leading to vulnerability, because it's starting with vulnerability. Vulnerability is being received, then given, then trust is built.
Yep.
Right. So it all starts with uh, vulnerability. So like kind of, I guess a coaching application could be,
You want to script read it?
you know, yeah, after a duel, say, you got the kids together and coaching staff has them there, and guys, we didn't prepare us well enough for that duel.
And then I could come back and say, we could have done something too.
You as the athlete,
Yep.
right?
We could have done something to or said something because we weren't comfortable in that duel.
Mm, right. So, us as the coach just said, hey, we recognize we
Messed up.
missed something.
Mm-hmm.
You as the athlete are seeing that, recognizing it, but also know deep down, because wrestling's crazy like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's always something during a match that you could have done better or
Oh,
gave a little more, right?
100%.
Like there's never a
Even when you win.
100% match, And shoot, I mean, maybe
No.
there's a couple out there of just
I
like
get.
the crazy underdogs that just gave everything they ever
I
had.
guess.
That was just
Yeah.
like the most perfect match but even then, I don't know. I don't know.
We could
I
probably
think if
pick
you
something
even
up.
asked them, they'd still
Let's
be
get
like,
it.
"Yeah, I could have gave a little more here,"
We could get it in the film room.
or
We'll see where they could got.
I wouldn't have been down 7 in the first period had I done this a little better.
Right.
Like I think there is always a little something. Where was I getting with that?
I don't know. You showed vulnerability. Me as the
Oh
athlete.
yeah. So because the athlete knows there's always something within a match that they could have done. So then they're coming back with, well, we could have done this too, coach.
But we were uncomfortable. Like you are right with
Right,
this was not good for us.
right. And at least in that exchange, boom. Okay, so now
There's a problem.
we both recognize, but
We
we both put in our portions of
flaws. Yeah,
responsibility,
exactly. Oh, yeah.
and uh,
Now what's the coach say next?
okay, so what do we change?
That's the key because now we've identified a problem. So coach or athlete can ask this question, but like problem's been identified. We've both, like you said perfectly, both put in portions of responsibility for said problem. Then the question of what do we change? So now both parties are responsible to find the solution to the problem. It's not all on coach going back to his house, sitting down in a room, come up with a practice plan to solve said problem. It's a what can we do as a group team?
Or even if the coach does have the answer, it's this is a great question to lead, like help get the kids on at least starting the thinking process, and that they might get to that answer themselves, because when they
Yep.
do that, that's what gets more buy-in.
Yep. We want problem solvers.
Right,
Remember that.
right. So this is a great question. So as a coach, we're asking the athletes, so how do we change that now?
Get those minds
Because
rolling.
they're thinking the things that they could have changed in their own areas of what they could control, but then they're also thinking of giving us feedback that could be productive
Yep.
from what they need from us as coaches, or what made them feel uncomfortable, or whatever it was that was feeling off and may have contributed to the performance or whatnot.
100%. As opposed to coach saying, you didn't execute what I told you to do.
And I said shoot the double leg, not go for the headlock.
I did shoot the double leg. How many
but then
times
you hit the headlock.
No, I didn't. Now we're no progress can be fucking sent up.
Let's go back to the film.
Yeah,
let's go back to the film.
We have had to do that.
Yeah.
We have had to do that. We've had it.
Come on.
But that
I just watched it. Let's go back.
I literally coached it. Okay. So now here's a good question for you. So now that we're talking about admitting responsibility for a problem, what happens when someone admits a mistake and gets punished for it?
Well, straight off the bat, it'd make me not want to admit a mistake ever again.
You're right.
For sure. Which is tough, right? Like, what is the mistake, dude? Because there's some mistakes. It's just like,
There's got to be some concept, like
yeah,
yeah,
right. But I think it's not so much punishment. Like this says punished, but I think there's always consequences for decisions. So I think that's
Change the
um,
word from punishment to consequence.
right. And if uh, like as a coach, we may not be able to withhold the consequences, but we have control over how we either A can deliver them, or B at least notify them of what's to come,
Yep.
or both, and still give support and love.
Yep.
This like, hey, that really sucks, and this is gonna suck,
Yeah.
and what's gonna happen is
But
gonna suck,
we have to do it.
or it's gonna happen when it's out of our control.
Right.
And but we love you, and
We'll
we'll
be here. We'll.
support how we can to. But the purpose of this is also growth,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's got to be a learning opportunity here, or else this
You'll
is
do
all
it
for
again.
nothing.
Right. Dude, that's a big question for parents out there too.
Mm.
Right? Because you have a lot of kids lying to their parents, and it's tough because you got to show them consequences, or else they're just gonna.
You do.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
It's Yeah, as a parent, I mean, you're dealing with multiple layers
Oh
of a
yeah.
relationship, And as a coach, you're dealing with a couple, but not the depth of a parent, obviously. But still, the yeah, it can be difficult and sticky and feel messy, and because especially depending on how the relationship and your connection, but you don't want the bad things to happen,
Right.
but yet there's consequences for things that happen, and also being able to, I think, deliver it in that way shows vulnerability itself as well, or at least allows them to feel safe.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, well, I am going through this. I did get in trouble or make a bad decision. I'm going through the consequences of whatever it was, um, but I can feel safe at least that relationship's not lost.
Right.
Still have my support here.
Mm-hmm.
If
And that's the biggest thing as a coach too, with like making sure the athletes know that you're still there to support. Because
Mhm.
I know a lot of athletes, not personally, but I've seen athletes who feel like they've done something so wrong that they lost their coaches as their coaches. And so then their performance goes down. They don't work harder to try to get it back because it's so hard to build that relationship. To try to rebuild it again is almost impossible,
Mhm.
especially as high school coaches. You only have 4 years with this kid, right? So if they do something wrong freshman year, by their senior year, who knows what that,
or worse, they quit.
right? They just say nope, not worth it.
Yeah, we've heard those stories.
Mm.
Yeah.
What was the quote you said earlier? Like, oh, um, it was a quote by the guy, but basically there was that experiment that put a group of people in an uncomfortable situation, and kind of the more uncomfortable the situation, the better they did.
Mm.
It was just a quick experiment. But then because of that, and with the vulnerability loop and how it builds the trust, and you find the problem to solve it kind of thing, he talks about building super cooperators. And he doesn't give like a straight up definition, but he gives a couple examples of these groups that he studied that are super cooperators. And one of the main ones he did was the Navy SEALs, and we all love the Navy SEALs. Um, and he talked. What was the guy's name? It's not. Oh, we didn't write it in here. But the guy's name for the head Navy SEAL guy, who he went in and got Osama,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
And he talks about there was a
So that is just because I think they're gonna just
yeah.
um yeah, he brings that up. We're gonna get there in like the next section.
Forget the Navy SEALs until our second act, our next section.
No, not next section, just literally like the next
Well, yeah,
little
not
portion.
next
Yeah, yeah,
part,
yeah, yeah.
next section of this podcast.
Right.
So stick with us, audience.
Hang in there.
Hit that
By the
subscribe
way,
button.
smash that subscribe button. Yep. Like, comment, share, follow.
Steven really wanted to tell that story. Just kidding. No, I'm just fucking. I'm just fucking. I'm just fucking. No, so so he talks about this comedy group called the Upright Citizens Brigade. I do like this one. And I've never heard of this improv group ever. but it contains some of the best comedians
Yeah,
I've
this thing is a
ever.
freaking diamond factory,
Diamond.
dude.
I mean, there's
This thing's
writers,
pumping them out.
writers on Seinfeld were in it. Writers of Parks and Rec were in it. Writers of The Office were in it. I mean, Aziz Ansari, Amy Poehler. I'm like, holy, what the fuck is the UCB? But essentially, it was this improv group. It made me want to join an improv group, honestly.
Right.
But they performed this exercise called the Herald, and the whole thing about the Herald is it is trying to make whoever's on stage uncomfortable. It's the whole point. How it's structured and layered scenes, like I forget the exact thing, but it was like scene 1 is connected with scene 4, scene 2 is connected to 5, 3 to 6. So like if you're sitting there watching it, the actors are supposed to know scene 1 and 4 are supposed to go together, but they're still in scene 2 and 3, but so things have to.
Yeah, it was like, so it's a different
Very
topic, but now that it's one,
complex.
it has to
Like
relate to A1.
Right.
A1, and then
A2, right.
when they're
Even
coming
more
to
complex. C3
and
is
then
a
they do a
little-
little
well,
something, then
it's C, so it's a different topic,
B3,
but it still has to relate to
but
B3 or
B1 had to go
B3
to
and
and
A3.
A3. So
So
it was like this
convoluted
crazy
mess.
and it's like, listen to that.
When they succeed, imagine like the crowd just,
Right.
every time they do relate it back, you're like, oh my god, that was sick.
Sometimes when we get really ripping, we kind of do a little bit of A to B to C.
Oh, we do some heralds.
Yeah,
100%.
Sound heralding a little
We're
bit.
heralding.
So fun to go watch one of those.
Stop heralding.
Yeah.
You're over herald.
You're Harold.
Oh, he got it.
Awesome.
And like Harold farming.
farming.
You're Harold farming. Calm down. But essentially, the whole reason they made this exercise, whoever made the Herald, but made this exercise, it was to get this group of people in the most uncomfortable position possible and see how people react to supporting their teammates, listening, don't try to fight for that center of attention, like save each other from the failure that they're doing, because everyone's failing left and right. So you're trying to save each other. And in order to do that, you got to trust one another. But goes back to make everyone feel vulnerable because they're all exposed, and see how they perform.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
crazy.
And they he described it as a successful herald is like watching the group fall down the stairs slowly, and then miraculously when
Standing
they get to
up.
the bottom, they're on their feet. Like, wow,
I want to go watch
awesome.
one. Let's go see if there's an improv group that does the Herald in Denver.
Go watch some heralds.
That I would be so down, 100%. So yeah, I mean,
and to tie it in, I know you weren't gonna say, but to tie into the Navy SEAL story that he also added to this. This was part of their training is they got to carry the logs, and
that's what it was.
The
example
guy who he was given was, the log's massive, very heavy, but if one guy trips, stumbles, misses a finger, because they're also switching shoulders and they have to do that in sync at the same time, you slip or something, that's X amount of pounds distributed through the rest of the team. That if someone else slips, that's another X pounds distributed through less amount of the team, right? And so how it can be such a domino, and they all need to be in sync, and egos separate and vulnerable to when someone does trip up, slip, lose pace a little bit, that the team can feel it, is there and is in sync, picks up the slack, and allows him to also step back in. Which is that same thing that they're doing with the heralds.
Showing that vulnerability can be used as a tool. So if you catch your athletes feeling vulnerable or lost, like you can kind of use that as if you get the team around, like you can use that kind of stuff to really bring them up,
right,
and grow bigger.
Interesting that Navy SEALs are a team meant to do what they do best, like meant to go and complete a mission and kill people that need to be killed. and capture people that need to be captured. But he uses this training
Train.
exercise to depict a concept, right?
Right.
So then you have these actors. Well, they're actors and improvers and screenwriters. That's the profession. But he's using this exercise that they do to display the concept, right?
Right.
So if that's the case, we're coaching and, you know, they're athletes. But I think there's exercises and activities we can do, and that's going to be some research on our part.
We
But
can get some
put it in
logs.
the comments if you guys have some ideas for this. But what would be um,
A team workout.
team exercise, group exercises, activities, something that can mimic these kinds of vulnerability aspects that the Navy SEALs did with the logs, or that the
We can move mats
UPC did
all practice.
with the Heralds. The what?
We could move mats all practice.
Yeah, right. Right.
Just get our hand and like just
around the school.
up the stairs.
Yeah. All right, hanging back up.
All right, another lap. Okay, so then this will be a good question. Does shared suffering, so what these two exercises that Coyle brings up, does the shared suffering automatically create the trust? Or does suffering only create trust when the people in the group know that their teammates will support them?
I think the suffering only creates trust when they know their teammates will support them. Because if you're suffering and then your teammates aren't supporting you, the suffering's not going to create trust because your teammates aren't supporting you.
Right.
So you'll get tougher probably, and you'll get your own benefits from the exercise and the toughness and the suffering. But you're not getting the trust and the team building aspect if you're not being supported by your teammates. Is my
Right.
my
No,
thing,
I
my thought
agree with.
on that.
So if the teammates don't support, you won't build the trust. But do you think athletes in the suffering are going to automatically
Trust their team to
trust
support them.
their, yeah?
I think
But
that
that's again giving up the
you got to
vulnerability.
do it.
You
Yeah,
got to give up the vulnerability and
right.
trust
You
this.
have to trust that your team's gonna support you.
Yep.
Yeah.
To build the trust with your team,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of a weird loop.
Which one comes first, the chicken or the egg? It's
Right.
like this. Yeah. Game of chicken.
Give it chicken. I will
Yeah.
support you,
Yeah.
and that's kind of, and I think that's the point.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the whole Harold point in the log. Like, I have to trust you to be able to get through this exercise.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't follow through, then the trust is gone. But if you do follow through, the trust is built.
Yep. And for the SEALs, at least, that's this is a life or death kind of concept.
Yeah.
I have to be able to trust you, or
We cannot be a teammate.
or people are gonna die. So.
And probably me.
Right.
It's like back in an episode in our last Culture Code episode where we were talking about safety, how like if we were out hunting and you don't trust me to have your back and I don't trust you to have my back, then we're just scared in the environment, not knowing what's going to come up
Right.
behind that.
Can't actually do the task at hand.
Yeah.
Just
We're too worried about what's
looking
behind
over
us.
our shoulder the whole time.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
Another aspect of the vulnerability that he really want, the type of vulnerability, and I think this is a great example of this, is him. What he's doing here is he's describing and showing the type of vulnerability. This isn't a weak vulnerability. This is a purposeful,
Yeah. That's a good word.
objective oriented vulnerability, right? And so the SEALs, SEAL Team 6, when they found out where Osama was, they started organizing and putting together a plan. And they figured out where his compound was, and they ended up building like 3 of them. 2 of them over here in the U.S., 1 of them in Afghanistan. And they just, well, before this, the essentially the leader of the squad was in a meeting with the commander of the mission. And commander saying, hey, we're going to use these stealth helicopters, and
They're new.
and
Cool.
right, and they can get through the radar and undetected and all this. But the leader, captain, I guess, would that be a captain? Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Military guys,
Hey, let
please.
us know,
Yeah.
and you can go ahead and chop us up for botching all this. Thank you for your service, by the way.
Thank you.
Um,
100%.
but captain was like, well, honestly, sir, the I don't think have we seen those in combat? Do we know how reliable they are? I don't think those are the best ones. He was told, nope, we're gonna use them. So he came back. I don't think, nope, we're gonna use them one last time, and he was definitely shut down, right? And he thought he was gonna lose his job. Didn't lose his job, but hey, we're gonna use these stealth helicopters. So instead of allowing that to really affect him or quitting the job, or there's a couple of avenues he could have done.
Right.
um, he still stuck to his guns, though. He still didn't didn't give him a good feeling, so he stuck with the plan, but he made sure to plan and train for the possible hiccups that he was anticipating anyway.
Yeah. Basically down
Right.
helicopter drills.
And that's what he was worried about with these stealth ones, was that something that they just hadn't been tested. We didn't have enough data on them, and uh, didn't know how they were going to perform. And so the drill was, he'd practice where
The plan.
they would do the plan the perfect plan that they wanted to execute. They would start that, but somewhere randomly, as he would do this, he'd be like, "Oh, helicopters down," and they would have to start the mission there, wherever they're at. They could be in the compound, they could be way outside,
Yep.
wherever they're at. They had to drop and
Go.
start, and they called it pick up basketball, right?
Yep.
Which I think is awesome, because that is the exact mentality, and like that's flow state,
Flow state.
that's when you see those teams that are just so perfectly in sync. In wrestling, it's hard because it's in competition.
It's
You don't
mono
really see it. You'll see it maybe in a guy himself, but you don't see it
as a team.
as a team. But you feel it in the wrestling room,
100%.
right?
What good
Like,
those
oh
practices.
my goodness,
Yeah.
right? We're all synced up, dude. We're battling, but like we're also drilling. Just things are flowing, right?
Yeah.
And um, I can only imagine, when on teams where you're not competing with each other, that it's even more so.
Right.
Um, so anyway, so they train that, and then turns out, come time for the mission, uh, they roll in there, and
Crashed.
the wall is higher than they expected. They end up crashing, and the people in the situation room and the president, they're watching, and they see the helicopter go down, and they're just,
Oh shit.
but on the camera, boom, the guys just fall out, and it's just this perfect little organized operation.
Yeah,
Didn't skip a beat.
not even a little
37 minutes in and out, done. Yeah.
bit. I bet that.
And that was all towards these after action reviews. So after each scenario of training that they would do, they would come back, and regardless of the rank that they were, they would drop all that, and it's human to human conversation of, what were our hiccups, what were our strong points, how do we improve our hiccups, how do we improve our strong points, where was our you know commu- communication lacking, you know these things, and taking uh
And asking the why.
the
Too.
why, right, and taking the authority out, and the rankings out, allowed the vulnerability of communication to happen, right? Where you're not having these situations like the plane that runs into the mountain,
Mm-hmm.
because you're a higher rank than I am, and I'm scared to ask a question directly. So, but they would do these after action reviews after each uh, practice session, and
they do it after every mission. Like it's a
necessity
yeah,
for them. Yeah. And it panned out perfectly.
worked out.
Yep.
Seems, and I mean the Navy SEAL. I mean, Coyle went kind of deep on the Navy SEALs. I mean, if you were to think of a group that has a culture that people
They don't have a
dream,
choice.
right?
They have to be.
And the Navy SEALs are a
Yeah.
perfect one. And like, it's amazing what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And then similar, like, not Life or Death. The Navy SEAls are way cooler, but then Pixar. had a similar thing of they with their AARs. They basically Pixar. We all know Pixar, Toy Story, Toy Story 2,
Toy
other
Story
ones.
3.
There's a lot of Pixar out there. I don't know why I'm blanking.
Monsters Inc.
Monsters Inc.
Yeah. Cars.
Cars. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they have this huge success, and they had this brain trust meeting where people would tear apart the first draft of the movies. Toy Story, apparently Woody was supposed to be a dick, kind of a little jerk face. They ripped it. I mean,
No pun intended,
yeah,
right?
right. We are a children's show. I can't even say that with a straight face. That was good.
Thanks.
Clip that.
Clip that. Clip it.
But anyway, so God, I can't even. But anyway, so they would have those. It wouldn't be an AAR because they wouldn't want to have the movie flop and then have a discussion about it. But they would tear it apart, and it'd be a meeting where everyone could say whatever they wanted, and rip apart this movie. And sometimes they'd have to start all over. But they have now produced,
Bombs
left
Yeah.
and right.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And interesting about some of those meetings is they would tear them apart but not offer solutions. That was a rule.
Yeah. Right. Go
Right.
figure it out.
And I think that was a very key thing in how that was structured, because
And that was the authority.
you're getting the feedback, but then you're not getting, and it's so easy to, hey, can you give me feedback? And someone's going to give you feedback, but they add in solutions,
their ideas,
right?
yeah.
And especially in this more professional setting, you're getting this feedback and then these solutions, and then if you don't follow it, now it's like this almost order taking and this interjection of authority that may not be, it isn't necessary, right? So I thought it was good that it's like, hey, tear it apart, but you don't get to give me solutions on it.
Yeah.
I'll just, that's my
hey, your
my
movie
job.
sucks.
Right.
Come back with another one. Essentially.
Right.
No, I like that. Should athletes be allowed to critique coaches?
Allowed? I mean, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Like whether you voice it or not, you're gonna have an opinion about me, or I'm gonna have an opinion about you.
Right.
Yes, I think they should be able to allowed to critique, but it's
you got to do it in a structured way.
Yeah, it's this open dialogue rather than report card thing, right? And we actually tried to get a little bit of this type of feedback. We did exit interviews with our athletes this
with
year.
our seniors.
And we got some stuff back, but
they're high schoolers.
In the question, there was at the end there was a couple of questions of, hey, if you were a coach, what would you do? And a couple more of like, what were a couple things you'd add? What a couple things you'd take away? Type deals, right? Didn't get much feedback on those.
Yeah.
So even when we were kind of open to the critique of as a coach, it wasn't really offered. And I think you're gonna find that more in the kids athlete range rather than the adult athlete range, right?
Right.
I think that style of communication is going to be different, and we can even sense it from communicating with a freshman to communicating with a senior, right?
100%.
There's just a maturity level aspect in there. And as a kid, you don't have any authority. You're ruled by your parents. You're ruled by your teachers. You're ruled by,
by the man.
So I think it doesn't even dawn on them that
they can give
they're grading essentially. They're just, I think they just are there because they're told to be there. And
which is funny because then when we got to college, how many, like especially when we started college, rateyourprofessor.com, like we were adults, so then it was we have all of these opinions.
Our opinions matter.
Yeah.
Right.
We can vote.
Yeah.
But high schoolers, I think you're 100%. It's like, but that.
But we can give them, it's kind of up to us to kind of help show that, hey, uh, giving you that entitlement,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Different entitlement, like
yeah, you're like you're entitled to your opinion, and if we as the coaches structure the open dialogue platform correctly, then it's a healthy environment.
right,
Yeah, I have.
100%. No, that's a good answer. So the next little section he talks about is, curiosity over ego. We've been talking about ego since conscious coaching. I mean, ego is a big deal, right? And like when it comes as a coach, it's kind of like you want to create cooperation with your athletes and not, you know, dictating or dominating the conversation when you're helping them, right? And I kind of like that where if if a kid comes to you with, "Hey, I'm not doing this right. I'm not doing this right. I'm not winning matches." Let's just say that's the question. You can kind of phrase those questions. Why? Like, what are you seeing? Like, where do you see yourself failing in that situation? And kind of get those kids to be curious to look for answers because, you know, sometimes people say you'll find the answers when you're not looking for them, but I'm a true believer. Like you need to kind of be aware of answers are out there, especially because if you're not aware of what you're doing wrong, then you're not going to find the answers. Like
Right.
epiphanies don't only come, a handful of times. So kind of like focusing on, and this is something I can do a lot better at is when athletes ask us for like, hey, how can I get this takedown? We're like, oh, lower your stance, get your head up, put your hands out in front. Like we correct every little thing versus if we frame it as, you know, well, why do you think he's getting past your head?
What do you think's stopping you?
Right.
Yeah.
What do you
Where do you feel you're getting stuck?
beat? Yeah.
Right.
And so then they're like, well, he's getting past my head because my head's higher than,
Mm.
oh.
Mm.
And then he realizes, oh, I can lower my stance. My hand finding's not good. Oh, because my hands aren't in front of me. So maybe like generating that curiosity versus, we're not trying to have them memorize. That's the thing about wrestling. Football, again, nothing against other sports. Wrestling's just our favorite. But wrestling, you can't hand them a playbook.
Right. Right.
Whereas football, you hand them a playbook and they can memorize all the plays. The curiosity is not as required, I guess.
For sure. Yeah.
And so again, it creates that problem solvers. We're trying to better these kids overall. And if you can create more problem solvers in this world, the world will have less problems.
Write that down. Clip
Clip
that.
it. Clip it.
Clip that. Yeah.
And so, as coaches, like, do we ask enough questions? Do we ask the kids enough questions to get them to be curious? Or are we kind of trying to answer their questions
Mm.
too quickly?
Right. Just because they ask the question doesn't mean we gotta spit out the answer. We can kind of
More a little hold
lead
back a little bit.
lead them to it. See if
Yeah.
they can find it themselves.
And I know
We
they're
don't have to be. And there's some coaches too who take that to the max. I'm like, okay, dude, just answer the damn question. You
you're like,
know?
okay,
Yeah, we don't have to make every opportunity a freaking coaching opportunity. You know what I'm saying?
that's a waste
You
of
know who you
opportunity.
are out there.
It's a waste of opportunity.
Right.
Or like those coaches who would answer in
Yeah.
like parables, and you're just
Oh
like,
man, yeah.
you're like,
Yeah.
uh, I have no idea what I'm gonna go ask the other guy.
Kind of practical ways. He goes into practical ways of, so he's defines vulnerability, then he depicts vulnerability in the way he's understanding it and
Not
using it,
weakness, yep.
right? And then he goes into the practicality and application
Using
of it,
it.
right?
Yeah.
Um, and like what we've been saying, leaders go first in it, and that's where this transaction is crucial. Is the vulnerability starts with the leadership, and it carries much more weight when it comes from leadership,
Yep.
right? So It's those phrases of, I screwed this one up, right? I don't know. I could use some help. Does anyone have any ideas? Right? What are we missing? What am I missing? Because those right there, just, yeah, nothing about those, at least for me, is someone, if I'm the one hearing those from my leader, doesn't give me weakness or shows uncertainty in data, but not uncertainty in ability
Purpose.
to do a task,
Mm.
you know?
And I will say there are like some coaches who have asked us those questions before, like, what am I missing? What can I do better? But tone and like, you can really screw up asking that question too. You know what I mean? Kind of do it condescendingly. You know what I mean? Like, what can I do better then?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I've done it all.
Yeah, good.
I've done it all.
I've done it all. What can I do better?
Because one thing that I could do better. You name it. I dare you to name it. You
Tell
can't,
me.
can you? That's what I'm saying. What can I do better?
Those coaches need to take a look in the mirror.
Uh,
Oh man. Anyway, okay.
Done it all, man. Done it all.
What's another practical way to build this vulnerability?
Another way is doing it face to face, right?
Negative feedback.
Yep. Negative feedback, face to face, and quickly, right? Like not too far detached from the event.
Right.
Further, more amount of time
yeah.
that gets between the event and whenever you talk about it face to face, less attachment. They have more opportunity. They've kind of re-rationalized things, and then you would have to rework that, or maybe you're just doesn't quite sit. You know, this is a huge area that we could apply something or some sort of value or principle here, because this is the after a big loss type situation,
But
right?
then,
Where,
yeah,
but a lot of times we do need to give them space or a certain
yeah.
amount of time, but it's not too much time. You know,
Well, and I think wrestling is
there's some
also,
play that has to be had, and a different approach, and it determines on the kid, right, and kind of where they're at mentally,
well, it depends on what they did
and how
too.
well they've prepped, and um,
Because if they're like throwing the headgear, done. You're
mhm.
doing something.
Right, and what they need to be coached on is far less than the actual things in a match,
Right.
right? Like clearly, if that's what's happening, then okay, then we're not even talking about the match. We're
Right.
talking about something else,
Yeah,
right now.
for sure.
But that's a great example. That's something you do face to face, and it has to be done right then and there.
Yeah.
You know,
You
not
don't
let him
text them
throw.
later.
I'll give him some
Yeah.
time. Actually, no, that one's right here,
No,
right now.
let me
Yep.
send them a text in our
Right.
new app that we have to
But
use.
running off because you know guys are, they're so pissed, but they still get up, they put their thing down, they shake hand, they run to the other
They're gone.
coach, they shake hand, they run off.
Yep.
You know,
Let him go.
give him some time.
Yep.
Yep.
100%.
Watching for critical moments. So we address that we think that the leader of the dynamic should be the one that presents vulnerability first. However, it's very possible that other people is going to give it, and that you recognize it. It's huge that you recognize it and then reciprocate or play into and use that to build trust. Use that as an opportunity to build trust.
Right.
Right? Don't waste it. Also, another one key moment is the first disagreement, right? And it could be a fight for sure. That's a big sign, but maybe you'd see it in they've said something and you disagree, but here's actually cool about this situation is they could say something you disagree with, or but because they've said it and you disagree, you can now adjust how you approach your response. Whereas if you said something and they disagree, well, now you're maybe might be playing a little more of reactive, but nonetheless still make note, okay, this is a point of contention, and
we'll have to find the solution.
Whether it's about that topic or it's more a deeper trait, right? You still kind of want to mark that, right? They could be disagreeing about not
technique taught.
necessarily the topic at hand, but there's a deeper issue
Right.
that's causing them to
Well, and I
disagree.
think
You
the
know,
disagreements come, the for us, any disagreement with coaching philosophies or what technique is being coached, like those need to be critical. That first disagreement needs to be handled because if it gets too many, then the coaches are the trust between the two coaches, and same with the kids, right? I'm just, you know, our kids are pretty good listeners and like don't disagree with us a whole lot, which maybe that's not a good sign because we need to show the safety that they can disagree with us. But just, in my experiences, it's a lot. These coaches get in these weird circles of like, oh, you believe this, so but this guy believes this. I'm gonna hang out, and then the athletes have no idea what they're learning or who to trust to learn from. You know,
Yeah, that's very true. And we see
nothing's
that,
worse
and
than
we
a
see that in the
confused kid.
workplace.
Oh,
We
dude.
see that
Oh,
in
let's not
friend
even go
groups.
to work.
Sometimes we see that.
Yeah.
You see that dynamic a lot of places
But
too.
like, and like, think about like a mom and a dad disagreeing on something, and what the kids in the middle. What are they? Who are they supposed to go with, mom or dad?
Right.
And not saying but like, that's a tough situation for kids to understand, and for athletes to understand too. If there's a disagreement between coaches, like resolutions big, and how it's resolved is big, and kind of a public resolution too is even bigger because then the kids, oh, everything's good, kind of thing. But don't have to get too deep into that one.
Another application or kind of example that he showed of was a trampoline analogy, but listen like a trampoline.
Mm.
Self-explanatory, but it's active listening. We've talked about this before. Conscious coaching talked about this a lot. Um, but you're getting input and you're giving back, right?
Yeah.
It's but you're
You're
not,
reacting to what they're saying.
but you're not over inserting, right?
Right.
It's not listening. Oh yeah, you know, bummer. I heard about that. That reminds me of this. Here's this, and this,
Yeah.
right? And then of course the after action reviews.
Use them.
Use them,
Use them.
right?
Use them. Use them. This is
Right.
another one I want to note for us
And
to use.
here's some key questions of say after competition is what did we intend to happen? What
Win the whole
actually
thing.
happened?
We didn't win the whole thing.
Why? What should we repeat? And what should we change? Pretty basic. Keep it simple, right? But I mean, you could talk about a lot of things in just those
We could
five
spend the
questions.
next hour talking about those
Yeah.
5 questions about one of the tournaments we did.
Right. So that's just some great applications for this whole topic of vulnerability, what it is, how it's actually defined, how it's useful, and practical applications.
Yeah. So then, that is the skill of sharing vulnerability right there. Like you said, like that's Mr. Coyle's skill too.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
now, questions that I want to ask you, and hopefully you want to ask me back, and audience, I want you to try to answer these too to yourself. When was the last time you admitted a coaching mistake? Think about it, guys. And admitting to yourself doesn't matter. That's not the point. It's admitting to the kids that you made
Or
it,
your staff.
or your staff.
Yeah.
I will
Or the
admit,
parents.
oof, that would be a tough one.
Right.
I will admit I made a coaching mistake. I admitted it to you. Didn't admit it to the kids, but it was a JV tournament. I chose the wrong position. Chose bottom, and he should have gone. Was it top? I forget what it was.
You deferred when we
Oh,
should have gone
yeah,
bottom.
that's what it was. I deferred, and he should have gone bottom. And won't make the mistake again. But I admitted it to the coaching staff that I was wrong, so they still trust me.
Right.
They still trust
Right.
me. But then, have you ever punished someone for telling the truth? Right? I know we haven't. We've never really been in a position to punish per se. But like, again, listeners out there, think about that. And then this one: are you developing athletes who can solve problems without yourself?
That's huge.
It's huge.
I mean, that's why we're in the game.
That's why I'm
You
in the game.
know, we're building wrestlers, but we're building men and men that are supposed to go out and
Live.
do something, right? And that's being problem solvers, and they got to be able to do that for themselves. And it's
We
for the rest of their lives.
yeah,
So this little 4 year time that we have, you know, um, if we're
quick.
not helping induce that,
Who
then
is
yeah.
other than parents? My dad used to tell me when I was little, he's like, "Son, I'm raising you to be able to live without me." And I was always kind of sad, like, Dad, I don't want to know, I don't want to think about you dying. But then, like, you think about it, it's like, I mean, shit, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's what the goal is.
Yeah. Got to live without your parents.
Gotta live without your parents.
Yeah.
Do you want to do any of the rapid fire ones?
Vulnerability or confidence. This is an interesting one.
So I think what it's asking is like confidence. Confidence has the misconception of like people who are confident know everything. So it's like, can you be confident and vulnerable? I think is what this is asking. Um, Based on this book, after reading it, like vulnerable is, and you know me, I'm a pretty open book. There are times where I fight for my, when I say something, I'll be a little stubborn, but vulnerability is definitely something I think we all need to be a little more vulnerable to grow and communicate. I mean, just the communication aspect of being vulnerable. Be like, hey, whoa, I don't know, I didn't know what you meant by that statement. I didn't know what you meant in that technique. I didn't know you wanted me to run practice that way. And being able to say that versus trying to defend yourself constantly is huge. And like I've said to you, and like we've even talked about this with our friendship, right? Like any sort of tension between us has been one of us is confused.
Right. Right.
And we were too proud to, not too proud, I don't want to say that, but like it's it's a tough thing. Being vulnerable is not easy.
No,
It's not easy. So
it's
like
not.
reading this, and honestly guys, like I'm talking talking to the guys, but honestly, like sitting here and going through this second skill with you, yeah, we both read it, like going through and talking about it, it's like it's even, it's the whole point of book clubs, right? To
Right. You're getting
go
more
deeper.
nuggets out of it.
hmm
That's great. Um, can ego and cooperation coexist?
I don't, in the sense of this book and what we've preached today, no. But I do think cooperate, like if like a leader by definition today has changed my mind. Has changed in my mind. Like when someone steps up as a leader, they're not running the show. Hey, you do this. Hey, you go do that. I'm going to do this. You go do that. That's what like a normal leader has been portrayed in certain things like the hospital or cop show, you know what I mean? Top Gun,
Mm-hmm.
where Maverick's pointing, but more it's you're the leader because you kind of show the most vulnerability or admit your mistakes. And so when people, or you're a natural born leader where people want to support you, so they come and help you finish said task. And I think right now, Cole, head coach, is kind of in a perfect spot where like you, me, and the other assistant coaches are very much so we want to propel the leader Cole up
Mm-hmm.
to success.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of, and Cole doesn't have that ego. That's why I don't think, because we're all cooperating. Does that make sense where I'm
Right.
trying to go?
For sure.
But
Yeah.
but in the same time, like the definition of ego here, you know, can complicate it. Like if you're cocky or do think you know it all, or your agenda the whole time, then what is the cooperation? Just because you're telling me what to do, so I go do it like a robot, that's not cooperating.
Right.
Like you see that in
That's
the
just compliance.
right, you see
Yeah.
that in the workplace too. Like how many businesses are actually being successful? Like look at the Googles, right? They're not, there's no, I mean, the CEO has an ego, but like with the culture of Google or Pixar or these things, like there is no ego. It's, hey, your role is this. You are given a task because that's your role. Get the task done however you want to get the task done.
Right.
Instead of, hey, follow these strict guidelines to get the task done.
Give them some autonomy
Yeah.
because you're displaying trust.
Oh my God. Way to
Dang, dude.
go, dude. Way to
Dang.
go.
Just to bring it back.
Just
Way to go, dude. Way to go. But yeah, so that's kind of wraps up, skill number 2. Now
Put a
we
bow
mentioned
on it.
there's 3 skills in this, and so next episode we're gonna go over skill number 3, and that kind of wraps everything together. So safety creates belonging, right? Vulnerability creates trust, but neither of the group really tells where it's going. So the third skill is establishing purpose and turning
Oh,
connection and cooperation into shared direction,
I
right?
like that. So now, how can we use this belonging and trust to then go towards a purpose?
Right. Shared purpose, shared goal, shared culture.
The culture code.
But guys, tell us what you think. Um,
Comment, share, like, subscribe.
Let us know if you know how any of these kind of topics or scenarios or
Right.
things that you've done in your own, um, whether it's your own room or with your own team or whatnot. Yeah, smash the subscribe button
Do it
and
all. I
do all
mean,
the things.
do you, actually, I'm gonna put our email in the YouTube description. Send us an email with if you have a super long story you want to share. We can easily share it on the podcast and talk about
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
Um,
Give us some examples of
yeah,
how any of this or any of these things might have struck you or brings up stories or examples
yeah.
in your own life. We'd love to hear
Any
it.
sport doesn't have to just be wrestling. We all know, the Navy SEALs.
Or work or dynamic.
Yeah,
Yep.
100%. Sweet.
Sweet. Later.
Peace out.
We aren't claiming to be the best. We are only trying to become better every damn day. This is the Coach's Journal.